Welcome to the last segment of NMRAx. I'm Speed at the bottom of the helix. Our next guest is from the upside down world of Queensland, Australia. At present, he is the NMRA Worldwide Director and an active member of the NMRA Australasian Region Division 1. Known for going down rabbit holes, which equate to some of the largest coal mines in the world, he only surfaces to run down yet another hole. Owner of the longest model railway under construction, known as the Foam Empire, which is based on the railways of Melbourne and Victoria in 1983. An avid HO modeler of VR and V-Line, prototype along with an addiction for the ON30 models of Puffing Billy and other ON30 oddities. Please welcome Martyn, you're muted, Jenkins.
No, I haven't got the mute on. I was just doing that to live up to the reputation. So, okie dokie. Well, I was told less than about 6 hours ago that I'm doing a presentation on NMRAx. So here I am on the other side of the desk, as you might say. Anyway, the clinic, or what we're going to look at today, is the True Blue scoop on Blunami. So if I hit that, we should see the PowerPoint screen with a bit of luck. I'm waiting for confirmation from the technical crew. And yep, yeah, we're right and going. Yep, no worries. We've got this professional. Anyway, Blunami. So a new decoder using Bluetooth from Soundtrax. When I first heard about it, I thought, okay, it's another way of connecting to a decoder. But it wasn't until I actually saw it and used it that I realized, hang on, this is not just a little thing. This is probably, well, I'd probably say, the biggest change to DCC since we got sound. And I think, this is where things are going to go in the future. But anyway, we'll have a little look at these couple of slides here. Sort of tells the story of how I got to this. And then we'll have a look at a bit of a demo and actually fire up the app and see what it does. So earlier this year, I ventured over to Texas to Speed's neck of the woods, where I don't think it dropped below about 110 every day we were there. It was actually quite amusing watching Gordy melt on certain occasions when we had to walk from the hotel to the car park. I don't think he was used to those temperatures. But anyway, we went to the convention, and while I was at the convention, or prior to the convention, Michelle Kempermar from the Colorado Model Rail Museum had invited me to go on a road trip with her back to Colorado and then attend the narrow gauge convention up in Denver. So off we go. We jumped into a car, and after the NMRA convention wound up on the Saturday, the Sunday morning, nice and early, we all piled into what I called the FBI vehicle. It was a big black Suburban with tinted windows, and we headed north to Denver. We got to Durango first, and of course, if you're going to Durango, you've got to go and have a look at a couple of layouts. So the first one we went and had a little look at was Mike May's layout, which is of the White Pass and Yukon. And this is a totally amazing little layout that's in a very small apartment. And if you look in the middle there, you can see all the switch gear. That was actually operating all the points and signaling. So every time you changed a point, all of a sudden you'd hear this big clunking under the layout, and that was all the original switch gear changing. From there, we also, while you're in Durango, we had to go and visit George from Soundtrax. And of course, if you notice on the photos here, the top left-hand one, whenever I'm in the US, I can't help it, but I've got to pick a road on someone's layout and make the traffic flow in the correct direction. So if you look at that top one there, that was before George worked out I'd changed the traffic on his layout. But of course, if we've gone to see George, it means we must have gone to Soundtrax as well and had a look at the factory. But before then, we went for a trip on the Durango Silverton for the day. So up to Silverton, have some lunch at Handlebars Cafe, take 1,001 photos. I think I maxed out my GoPro with 7 batteries, and I flattened my phone. So I've got tons of video, and it was a sensational trip. Highly recommend it. But anyway, let's get down to tin tacks. When we were in Durango, after we went on the Durango Silverton, Nancy opened up the factory for us at Soundtracks, and we went and had a little look through there. Now, usually when I do this clinic, I'll play this video, but if I play this video, I reckon we'll get a strike from YouTube, because that's where the video is housed. So if you go to the Soundtracks YouTube channel, you can actually see this video, and it's worth watching because it takes you on a little tour around the factory, and you see all the different machineries and parts and bits and pieces, and the method that they employ there to make these little boards that make our trains work. So, getting down to tin tacks, while we were there, I had a look at this Blunami system. So, what is Blunami? Whoops, I've hit the wrong button. See, I've hit the wrong button. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. So, what is Blunami? So, basically, they're a tsunami decoder. And what they've added is the ability to communicate to it via Bluetooth. The Bluetooth they use, because I thought, Bluetooth, that's not too good. I got a set of Bluetooth headphones, and when I walk away from my computer for more than about 30 feet, I lose my headphones. So is that going to work really well? The version of Bluetooth they actually run is Bluetooth LE, or low energy, and it has a vastly greater range than the level of Bluetooth that we have in, say, headphones or mobile phone products, earbuds and the likes. They guarantee it up to 100 feet in range, but I reckon you can probably stretch that a bit further. But we'll look at that in a little bit. But basically, they give us this ability, instead of sending our data down through the rails to our decoders, that we can do it wirelessly from your app or from your throttle, which brings up some really good advantages. So what do they look like? Well, they're a standard DCC board. These are the 3 form factors that Soundtracks currently manufacture. So we've got on the left-hand side there, that large board is the G-scale one, which will do up to 4 amps. We've got standard 2200, which is your standard Tsunami 2 sort of wrap and form factor, and that'll do up to 2 amps. And they've just released this PNP form factor, which is a drop-in for all the Atlas and Athern. And if you model Australian, it'll fit Aussian, it'll fit early Aussian, Austrains, and Trainorama models quite well. So they're the 3 that they have at the moment. From my understanding, they're in the midst of doing all the artwork for a 21-pin decoder. So hopefully in the not too distant future, early next year, I'd say it'll probably be now, being as we're now in the beginning of December. Christmas will be here soon. That's another year gone. They'll have a 21-pin decoder out, and that will then really boost the availability and the installation for them. So if we have a little look, like I said, basically they are a Tsunami 2 decoder. So here we got at the top is a Tsunami 2, and then down below we've got a Blunami chip. And as you can see, the only difference basically is where it's been circled here. That's the Bluetooth chip. So that's the chip that's actually receiving the data and doing all the communications. So as I said, you've got all the functionality that you would have in a normal Tsunami 2 decoder, but now you've got Bluetooth to be able to connect to it as well as your normal DCC. So moving along, what will it do? So range, I spoke a bit about that. The range is guaranteed to be a 100 foot. You watch now, I'll get an email from Soundtrack saying, no, it's not. From my understanding, it's 100 foot. And on talking to George, he said they did a trial in the car park there, line of sight across the car park, and they got about 140 odd feet. So they believe 100 foot is the range they guarantee, and but it will probably go a little bit further. Now, will it run as a DCC decoder? I've got a large NCE layout. I don't want to have to change everything. Yes, it is, like I said at the beginning, a bog standard DCC decoder. Tsunami 2 has all the sounds on it that the Tsunami 2 has, all the functionality of the Tsunami 2, which we'll look at when we'll fire up the app in a minute, and we'll look at the app. So it will run just like a normal DCC decoder. So you could take that Blunami equipped train, and you could go down the club, put it on the DCC layout at the club, and off we go. You can be running either using the Bluetooth app, or you could pick up the NCE throttle and dial in the address like you do with any normal decoder and drive it that way. So it will work in both camps. The other question I had asked was, will it run on DC control? Well, the demo I'm going to show you later on, the loco is actually connected to a 12-volt power supply. So all that's going to the rails on this demo is 12 volts DC. So yes, it will run on DC control. If you've got an analog layout, you can put one of these locos on your layout, wind the throttle up so there's power to the track, and pick up the your mobile device and start the app, and off you go. You've got a fully functioning DCC, but running an analog layout. So why change all my locos to Blunami? Well, that's not really the idea. The idea is going forward, when you do a new DCC install, instead of just putting a standard DCC decoder in, you put a Blunami in there. You've got the added benefits of being able to take that loco to a friend's layout, that's say an analog layout, be able to run your loco on his analog layout, and have all the controls of your DCC system. So how will it benefit me? Well, there's the main benefits I saw was the fact that, one, if I was starting out in the hobby, if I went down the Blunami track, I don't have to buy a DCC system. All I have to do is wire up all my track to 12 volts and buy Blunami chips, have the app in my phone, and I can do everything you would want to do with a DCC system through that. Yet I haven't bought a DCC system. So cost, if I was starting out, it could reduce my cost of having full digital control very, very substantially. Yeah. So anyway, we'll move along. They were the points that were raised to me at a clinic lately. So let's see what else we've got here. So like I said, we've got a little bit of track here that we're going to do a demo on, and the track has basically just 12 volts DC going to it. The loco we're going to use is an ON30 NA class, and it has a Blunami 2200 steam loco fitted with Keep Alive as well. So Keep Alive is actually in the tender of the loco. It says there we have two. That's for when I was doing the clinic. I actually had two locos out, but for this presentation, I've only got the NA class. But anyway, someone decided to ring me on the mobile phone. Don't they know we're online at the moment? Anyway, what's happening here? Okay, so I'll switch over here now. And with a bit of luck, if I turn this iPad on, okay, I've got the iPad up, and you can all see me, I guess. Don't hear anything from the production crew. They've all gone to sleep now. Oh, okay, so the app is free to download, and the app is available to run on either Apple iPad, the iOS, for all the purveyors of fruit-based technology, and there's also an Android version as well. So I've actually got two versions running there. The one I'm actually going to demonstrate is the one on the Apple iPad, because it's easier to get that up onto the screen than it was to get my mobile phone up there. So basically, once you've downloaded and installed the app, we hit the button there, it'll start the Blunami app. And this is what it looks like. Now it's come up and said no trains are detected because I don't have any power on this track at the moment. So I'll turn the power supply on. And I don't know if you can hear the compressors running on the train at the moment. And the app has now found that there is one Blunami chip powered up in this room. So all I do is hit the connect button, and now the app is connecting to the actual loco. Once it comes up with that disconnect, it tells us it's connected. So we hit the loco again, and it starts up the app. Now the first thing it needs to do is read all the data out of the actual chip. And I don't know if you heard the whistle go off then, that means that that's all done. So it's read all the data. This is our main screen. So this is our driving screen. If we give it some throttle, you can probably see the side rods are moving there on the loco. And we can just run it through our throttle on the side here. Change direction. Yet you hear the reverser change over in the model, but you also hear it come out of the app as well. So you get sounds that come out of the app at the same time. You can turn that off if you want to as well. To use our functions, you just hit the side tab there, and here are all our functions. Now, as I said before, this is what I'll do is I'll hit mute for the time being. As I said, this is exactly the same as, say, using NMRA to program a decoder. We go into the settings and have a little look. We can see here the name that we've given this Blunami chip, and we've actually given it a DCC address. So this one's actually addressed as 18. So if I took this loco off this layout now and put it onto the DCC layout behind me and dialed up loco 18, I could control this just like any other DCC sound-equipped loco on my layout. As soon as I connect to the loco with the Blunami app, it turns off the DCC system, so it won't take any information from the track from there on. It now knows that it has to get its information via the Bluetooth app itself. So there's our DCC address. Now, one thing that got me about this, as we can see here, go into our sound settings. I'll have to go back and I'll turn the sound back on again. And we'll go into our sound settings. But one of the major things that I liked about this, especially in tuning your loco, is it's dynamic. So when that loco is running on the layout, I can make any adjustments via the app, and it's in real time. And what I mean by that is if you're using NMRA and you make a change in your setup, you have to write that to the decoder before you see the effect. Whereas this, as soon as I make the change in the app, it happens on the loco. So at the moment, I've got the volume running. So if I go back here and let's get it running and making a bit of noise. Go back to the sound settings, to the master volume. And if I turn the master volume down, it's gone silent. I turn the master volume up, sound's coming. So all the programming and all the changes you make are dynamic, and that includes your motor controls. So if you wanted to change the speed or the lights, you can do all of that, and it will be doing it in real time, which is really good for programming and setting up your locos. I'll just go back here and turn the sound back off again. Hit mute. And if I go back to the setup again, we have our sound settings. So just like normal Tsunami decoder, if we go in and just look at, say, the whistles, these are all the whistle sounds that are in the decoder. So if you can't find your whistle sound in there, I don't think it exists. Same when you get to the diesel Tsunamis, they've got all the different types of EMD and Alco sounds are all in the menu, just like you would have in a Tsunami 2. So if you've had a Tsunami 2, this wouldn't be much different. Again, you've got the reverb effect, which I think is great for a steam loco, especially with the whistle. You can get that echo in the canyon type of sound from the whistle, but it has reverb on it, just like our normal Tsunami. It has the equalizer on it, just like our Tsunami, so we can customize the sound that's coming out of it to suit the speaker. You have all the random sounds in there, just like in our Tsunami 2. But as I said, when you make a change here, it's dynamic. It actually happens, and you can hear the effects. If we go back to our menu here, we've got our speed settings. So we've got our speed tables, just like we have with our DCC decoder. But again, this is all real-time programming. So as the loco's running, if you change a speed step, it will actually do that instantly. There's no stopping and rewriting the file back to the decoder like you do in JMRI. So you have all that function there. We have a 3-point speed table, a 28-point speed table. It also has back EMF control, and it also has a dynamic exhaust function, which we'll look at here. So you've got automatic sound control, and you've got your dynamic sound as well. So as the loco hits an incline or the load increases on it, it'll measure the back EMF and make the chuffs louder and harder, just like a real loco would. The diesel, it'll notch the prime mover up, so the prime mover will actually increase in RPM. The other thing that got me was if you wanted to program by CVs. So if you're old school DCC and you've been, you know that you've got to set CV 64 to 132 to get the exact effect that you want, you can go in here and change the CVs all as you would with JMRI or with a normal decoder. But the thing about this is it actually gives you the name of what the CV function does when you have a look. So, you know, if you wanted to disable or enable the speed table, just looking through here, you can see, okay, that CV25 is enable, disable. So all the functions are actually written there. But the thing that really got me was, go back. That really got me was reading all the data out of the loco. Unfortunately, the way DCC systems read the information back from a loco on a programming track or the likes is they pulse the motor. They need it to draw some current so that data can be put onto that current and sent back. This now using Bluetooth or wireless technology takes all of that away. So the big time delay in when we put a Tsunami 2 onto a programming track with JMRI and then try and read it, the way that DCC protocol and everything is done is that takes time, and it can take 20 minutes, half an hour sometimes with some sound decoders. There's some European sound decoders that when read them, it can take up to 40 minutes in JMRI to read the full decoder. This is how we do it with the Bluetooth app. So I hit the read all CVs, and if you see on the right, there's a little bar graph, and when they're finished. So we've just read every CV in the decoder in that period of time. That was the thing that really got me. I thought, this is just so easy. And of course, when we started the app up, you saw that it didn't see a decoder there, or a loco Blunami decoder. But when we did connect, it flashed up a window saying getting decoder data. Well, that was doing a read all CVs. So it got all the information into the iPad. None of the information is stored in the iPad. It's all stored in the Blunami chip. And that's really good, because if we suddenly went somewhere and I left my iPad behind, but I had my mobile phone, I can still connect to the loco and I can still have all the functionality, because everything is set up and stored in the actual chip on the loco. So go back here. Like I said, there's our dynamic digital exhaust. It's self-calibrating. So all you need is about 2 meters of straight track. Put the loco on there. It's got to be dead flat. Hit the begin calibration, and it will run the motor, and it will calculate its own back EMF values to actually set itself up. Our lighting functions, just like our normal Tsunami. If we go in here, we've got all the different types of effects we can have, whether we've got incandescent lamps, LEDs, whether we want the lighting effect to be on-off, dimmable, Mars lights, single flash. There's all sorts of different lighting effects that we can put in here. Flickering firebox, smart firebox flicker. So this one's actually going to have smart firebox flicker inside, in just the firebox flicker on its own, running down the bottom. We've got 6 outputs in one of the 2200 decoders, so there's plenty to do that, plus the headlight and backup light as well. Okay, so we see down here on disconnect. So as I said, when we go here, we've got access to our functions. So this little tab on the side gives us access to all our different functions. We'll turn the mute back off now. We can hit our whistle, run it from there. We've got our grade crossing. We can enter switcher mode from here. Now, that gives us function 0 to 14. If we want 15 to 28, we just hit the next tab along, and it'll move this across to bring up our other functions. Back here, we've got our basic, of course, our light on and off, our bell. The bell's actually disabled on this model because we don't use bells at Puff and Billy. As you can see, there's no bell on that particular loco. But I have the long whistle and the short whistle there. And then, of course, our direction control on the front there. So it's a very simple app. Now, the only other thing to mention is consisting. So if we wanted to consist a bunch of locos, there's this link button down the bottom, and you just hit that, and it will ask you, is the loco the first, second, third, or fourth loco in the consist, and which direction it's facing. It will then link up with the other locos you've already got set up in the consist, and off we go. So I think that's about it for me going on for a while. Is we got any questions there, or anything someone wants us to look at in more detail?
Can you save any of these settings in the app?
Let me turn this off so I can hear. There we go, hit me. Sorry, what was that?
Can you save any of the CV settings in your app?
No. No, they save all back to the decoder, but you can put the decoder on JMRI if you want to back it up. And you can, because it's just like a normal Tsunami decoder.
But if I don't have a DCC system, then where's my backup?
Your backup's in the loco.
But that's the thing that burns out, and I need to replace it.
while we reprogram your loco.
From scratch, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so quick question. Why did you pick 18?
Why did I pick 18?
Because
Because this
6A
was...
in hexadecimal is not 18.
Sorry?
6A shown on the engine there is not 18 in hexadecimal.
Yeah, I know. Okay. No, 6A is actually a preserved NA class up at Puffin Billy, which I've ridden on several times. So, but all the numbering at Puffin Billy is because they're an NA class loco. So it started off as 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. It's not hexadecimal.
So why 18?
So why 18? That was just a number I put in there at the time. Probably
Oh,
it was probably more unlucky than I didn't even think about whether 6A was hexadecimal. But anyway, there you go.
so can Aussies buy these directly from you?
Yes. If you go to the NMRAx website, you can get my contact details through there. I've got basically all three form factors available, plus a range of speakers and bits and pieces. But yes.
So it sounds like they've been told they can also get free installs at shows.
That was a rumor spread around by a certain Craig Mackey, and I think someone that might be involved in the production of NMRAx.
Well, they also want to know if how important is it to have the decoder correctly installed at the demo stand. You know anything about that?
It's very important. Look, just because I got one wire around the right way, okay? No, it's very important to install any decoder in the correct manner.
Now,
Well.
someone mentioned this that long um, layout install that you have there. Would it help if we bring our Blunami locos to your layout? That speed anything up?
Well, if they've got dead rail, they'll run. If they've got battery on board, they'll run. No,
Cool.
like I said, I mean, I'm known for going down rabbit holes, and hence why the layout kind of comes to a grinding halt. And this was the latest rabbit hole to go running down.
The it sounded like you skipped over that cost part on the slide. How much more are these expensive?
Okay, well, in Australia, well, look, in the States, the MSRP is round about the 160 mark. In Australia, they're round about the 240 mark, $240 a decoder. So they're probably around about maybe 20% more than a standard sound decoder. But the fact that you get the additional connectivity and the fact you don't need to have a DCC system, and if you're at an analog layout, you could have digital without having to rewire your layout. Yeah, I think the benefits outweigh the additional cost.
And you said Tsunami 2, right? So same speakers.
Yep.
Same sounds.
Same sounds, same speakers, an 8-ohm speaker. They actually have some really nice mini cube speakers, sugar cube speakers. But any 8-ohm speaker will work with it.
So you have some inside information on the soundtrack side then, right? If you're a distributor of this, are we going to get some Bluetooth throttles?
Well,
Because I hate using my phone.
Well, they've
Just
got
too
the
flat.
apps out at the moment, but who's not to say someone might not make a throttle that'll work with Bluetooth and have tactile switches and a knob on it instead of a slider and touch push buttons. I mean, that wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility.
Like a Bluetooth proto throttle?
Like a Bluetooth proto throttle. Well, there's we've actually been having a bit of a think here about using the existing proto throttle to be able to drive via Bluetooth a Blunami. So that may be something that comes on the cards in the future. This technology this hobby is probably 2 to 3 years old. So we're still kind of in the baby steps. I mean, I can see eventually in 10, 15 years time, you probably won't buy a decoder that's just DCC or a special Bluetooth one. It'll just be a standard feature. It comes with all decoders. And we'll use the track power to get the power to run the model, but we'll use wireless technology to actually send the data to it instead of sending it down to rails and having all that electrical noise and bad connections and the likes for data.
So would you know if there would be a limit on how many of these I could run on my layout?
I believe it's up around 99. I think the app is limited to 99.
Did that consist button give any limitation on how many you could consist up using Blunami?
When you initially turn it on, it starts up with 4 options, but I believe as you fill those, it'll add more.
And then the top right-hand corner of your iPad was showing 12.9 volts in the beginning, but now we're only having 12.8 volts. Do you have a draining battery there?
No, it's a variable power supply, and if I change the power supply, you should see the voltage go up. We're 13, 14 volts now. I'm not going to wind it up anymore because you'll just want to see the smoke come out of the model. Yeah, I heard that snigger from Brad then.
So, big question. When can we get these in N scale? Come on.
Okay. Well, I would say at the moment, the 21 pin is a priority. Once they've finished that, I would not be surprised if maybe an N-scale offering could be on the cards.
Cool.
So you'll have N-scale with sound and Bluetooth connectivity. But the big thing with these, as it really got me, was the fact you don't need to have a DCC system to have all the functionalities. If this was someone new starting out in the hobby, this is the avenue to go down instead of buying a DCC system or the likes. I mean, of course, when you want to do other things like occupancy control and all of that sort of stuff, well, then you're getting a bit more than just wanting to run trains. But if you have got a layout and want to get up and running really quick, it's a good option.
I'm going to echo that part where the benefit here is getting access to those CV values without moving to a programming track or to program on the main, which has its own
issues,
own risks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many times I've done something like that and then changed every loco on the layout,
Yep.
or done something silly like that.
Yeah.
With the programming, just the speed that it does it as well. Just want to read all your CVs. Well, bang, one button, and 30 seconds later they're done.
Yep. And it's just so easy, even if you just have a dead rail install, to get kind of access to the same features that the DCC folks have.
Exactly. I've got one guy was at the train show a couple of the last month, and he's given me a Bachmann G-gauge Shay, and I've got the decoder here for him. I'm just waiting for the speakers and the batteries to arrive. but that's going to be battery on board. So the layout now at home, because he wanted to go digital, and he was looking at putting a DCC system in on all his G-gauge track in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Now all he has to make sure is that the rails are joined together.
Yep.
Don't worry about track cleaning. Don't worry about electrical feeds. Don't worry about anything like that. Using this, the battery size accordingly, we believe you'll get around to about 4 hours of 4 to 5 hours of running out of it. And then it's just plugging it in, and 45 minutes later, it's charged back up again. So,
Good to go.
Yeah, good to go. So, yes, again, like he said, the decoder costs a lot more than the other decoders he was looking at. Costs more, not that much more, but the functionality that he gets out of it is far outweighs the cost increase. So.
Cool. So that that green engine you have there, that's part of that. I forgot the name now. Gotta switch over to the other screen. Is that part of the Puffing Billy collection you have?
That's I've got that, and I've got a 8A is the other loco that I've got. We've got at our club a large Puffing Billy actual layout. Puffing Billy is a tourist railway. It runs in Melbourne, Victoria, up to the Dandenong Ranges. And we've got quite a large layout in the club that was built by one of our club members that lived in that area. And yes, that's where these usually reside.
And that's ON30?
That's ON30, yep.
Okay.
So you can see when I put my hand, yeah, it's ON. I was going to say I'll do a dime for scale, but I haven't got a dime here.
Pinky nail.
So, yeah, so I've got the NA that's installed with a Blunami 2200. I've got 2 VR S-Class locos, which are a bit like an American E8
Okay.
loco. They've got Blunami in them, and they are going to be MU'd to go with the Southern Aurora passenger train. And I've got a 930 class Australian Railways, which is a bit like a Alco with the nose cut off. So I've got Alco's EMDs, and I've put a steam decoder in so far.
All in a similar green coloring?
No, the VR stuff is in blue. So.
Okay.
But we'll look at that another day.
Do you use the same logic for your DCC addressing on those locos as you have on this Puffing Billy model?
Yeah, I can tell by the gig. There's a little snide comment there. No. They actually have the cab number off the side of the loco.
Oh,
It's only the ON30 oddities that are odd, and that's why they're oddities.
But then you have to make the 18 and 19.
Yeah.
Unless you say it's backwards, so it's like 8-1.
8-1.
Yeah.
Okay,
more serious. I know. More serious note, what are those things that the engine is sitting on?
So they're Bachmann rolling roads. They're little stirrups that sit on the track, and then they got roller bearings in them for the wheels.
Cool.
So unfortunately, a great product made by Bachmann that they no longer make.
I was just about to ask, where do we get those?
So there are other brands out there, but what I've found is all the brands make their stirrups different heights.
Oh.
So you can't get a Baccaris stirrup and use it with the Bachmann ones, because they'll be different heights, and the loco won't sit on it properly. So if you're going to buy them, I recommend if you find them in a shop, buy as many as you can.
I think they should have been NMRA stirrup height standard.
Well, that could be a thing. We'll have to have a word with our standards people and see whether we can do something about that. But if they were all standard, you could buy any brand. But they're not, unfortunately. So Barkman had these out probably about 12 years ago. When I saw them, I bought 2 packets, and I've never seen them again since.
Are those adjustable, or are they fixed for 0 and 30?
No, these are fixed for 16 mil track. So
okay,
it'll do HO or it'll do O in 30. Some of them you can get are adjustable. So you can go from N scale, I think, up to HO. And then I think S to O is in another one. But yes, they're... I always say to people, if you can find them, just buy as many as you can at the time, because they won't be around.
wow.
They tend to come from manufacturers that are only there for a short while. So I don't think Baccaris is around anymore. So it'll only be the second-hand ones that you'd find of those.
Cool.
But they're well worth it, because you can. Especially, I got them originally because I could set a loco down on a piece of track and read all the decoder data out of it without the loco disappearing.
Yep. You don't have to worry where it goes.
Yeah, it's not going to run away. It's going to still be there. And, yeah, so they're really handy for that.
And you also have 2 touch points on the wheel, so there's that problem when you hit a dead spot. Also,
yeah. Well, this model's actually got. I put a large keep alive in the tender at the back here in the coal bunker. So this thing will run for about 40 seconds after it loses power. It'll still keep going.
So Mike Ruby NFS says DCC Concepts make some.
Yeah, DCC Concepts have got a set, and I think there was it a mob called Prouse? They had a set as well. There's a few of them out there, but like I said, when you get one, buy all of that brand, because they won't intermingle. They don't play happily with each other.
Ew. Well, Martyn, I can't see Facebook. Brad, is there anything on Facebook?
Facebook at the moment.
And
But I do have a question that's just come across my desk here, Martyn. I believe we've been told that you're a guy that likes to toot your own horn at train shows. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I missed that.
We've been told that you like to toot your own horn. Would that be correct?
Are you even speaking to that Mr. Mackey again?
There's no name on this note that's come on my desk.
No name. I can tell where that one come from. Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Well, I just sat there the last train show. I putting some of these Blunamis into locos, and to do the testing phase, we had to give the horns a good workout. So apparently, I sat there all afternoon blowing my own horn. So.
And the fan mail has never
but
stopped.
then I got moved along because somebody wanted to come along to make scale clotheslines. How boring.
Oh.
Scale clotheslines.
You mean like HO scale or ONT?
Yeah, HO scale clotheslines.
Sounds like that's a thriving division table that shows up at these shows regularly.
It does.
I'll have to keep my eye out next time.
Well, on that note, I think that brings us to the end of this
Another
NMRAx.
NMRAx.
So thank you, Martyn. That was quite insightful.
Not a problem.
And if people have more questions, find the worldwide NMRA director. NMRA.org has a organization and structure link in the blue footer of every page. So 2 clicks and you can send Martyn an email. We also have the breakout room, and I'm sure Martyn might hop over there. And that link is at werby.com/OMRG. Oscar Meyer, Rudolph George.
Oscar Meyer, didn't they make hot dogs?
Uh-huh.
I've just put it up on the bottom of the screen, so note it down now, and everyone can join and heckle Marty a bit more.
No problems. Well, I think we're all done, and we'll wrap this up. We've got Springfield coming up in a short while, don't we, Speed?
Correct.
So I'll be breaking out the thermals, being as I'm leaving subtropical Queensland. By about that time, it'll be probably in the early 100s and around about 90% humidity, and heading to Springfield for a change. The last time I was there, people threw this white stuff at me. They kept picking up off the floor and rolling up. Apparently it's called snow, but we don't see much of that in Queensland. We've seen photos of it. So I'm looking forward to heading out, meeting all the people again and the like. So I'll be over at the NMRA booth. If you see me wandering around, say good day.
Have a good night, everyone. See you soon.
See ya.